you choose?
Right. Okay, I'm going to answer this in a very roundabout way. I think that they're presented to the world, right? And there is a place for films and stories that speak truth to power. I'm still waiting for that film that will be made about NSAS in a way that unpeels the layers. You know, there's a young man who made a short film that I was really, really impressed by, and I hope that he goes on to make it. You know, it's a story about a boy, an only son, who was killed during the NSAS protests, and the sad part of the story is that since this boy was killed, the mother has been trying to just recover his body so she can bury her son. There's no lens of positivity there. It's a tough story, but it's a story that needs to be told. It needs to be told. And when I talk about films that can force the hand of policy and make the powers do what they need to do, I see that film as a film that can accomplish that if it is done properly. Because there's no reason why a mother cannot be given the same. And that one is a problem for like 3 years now. So there's a place for those kinds of films. Personally, I look towards hope. So which means that there are certain kinds of films that, you know, will be tough for me to make. And maybe I will evolve to that point where, you understand what I mean, I can take on those tough subject matters as they are. You know, so like, for instance, with the Chibok story, yes, it's a tough story, but I try to look beyond the grief and look beyond the pain. And maybe I did that because I felt that I wanted to challenge the dominant narrative about these women, you know. So yes, hope, resilience, courage plays a big part in how I approach my stories. And in every sort of like tough situation, I try to ask myself, so what keeps this person going? What keeps you going? Because I kept asking those women over and over again, I'm like, how do you wake up every day and there's a song in your mouth? And they said it's faith. Faith is the one thing that keeps us alive. If you take it away from us, then there's no point living.
I think he captures it well. Faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the future, faith in God, faith in the country, faith in people. Yeah. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Kachi. You're not released yet. So now, we get a chance to do 10 minutes or so of questions. So if there are questions that you have that I have asked my own, so you can ask your own now.
Hello, sir. So I actually really enjoyed your session. And you mentioned something about working on a film based on sports. So I'm actually a filmmaker with a strong interest in sports business, and I am particularly passionate about bridging those fields together because I believe sports in Nigeria still lacks storytelling. Yeah, so my question is, in sports documentary filmmaking, how do you balance telling authentic, sometimes uncomfortable truths with protecting the image of athletes and institutions? And where should the line be drawn between honest storytelling and ethical responsibility?
So it's so interesting that you asked that question because there's a scene in the film, the sports film that we made. And in that scene, one of the characters got news that she could not play the next game. And that's what the therapist told her. You cannot play the next game. You're too injured to play. And we had that on camera. And I remember when we, after the scene was filmed, and she said, so I asked, I said, so are you going to play? And she said she's going to play. And I had a strong debate with my DP, because he's also very passionate about story. And he said, we need to tell the coach about what we've heard. She cannot play the next game. So that's where you're talking about honest stories and ethical responsibility. Do we have the and we had this back and forth. And I said to him, I said, look, first and foremost, we're not dealing with a minor. This is an adult who has taken full responsibility for the decisions that she's about to make. It's not in our place as filmmakers to intervene. It's not in our place to do that. And there was a lot of back and forth. We talked about it, and I stood my ground and said, it's not in our place. She has to be the one to make this known to her coach at a time of her choosing. Now, if there was a crime being committed, if there was someone's life at risk, if somebody was going to be killed or whatever it is, that's a whole different conversation that you need to step into and make a decision. But in that situation, it was a professional decision that she was about to make. And it wasn't in our place to do that. So when it comes to those kind of things, there are always sort of like these gray areas, and I can't sit down here and tell you that there's any one particular rule that you have to follow. Sometimes it's about your guts. What's your heart telling you? And you make that decision and live with it, for good or for bad. I mean, she ended up going back to the coach and telling him, and I told my friend, I said, Shaibu, you see, if we had done that, what would have happened would have been that we would have betrayed her trust. She gave us access. She gave us access in that moment. Access, you have no story. Without access, you have performance. And you don't want performance in a factual story. You want truth. I hope that sort of, I know it's a bit, and we can have this conversation later. I like that you're doing a sports docu, so.
Thank you very much, Joe Kachi Johnson. I really appreciate you, and I really honor and respect you. I'm Dr. Ajai from Lagos State University. My question is double-barreled. My first question is that, does documentary film pay, right? Anyone that listens to you will know that you have a very large heart, but then has parents looking up to this person and is worried about return on investment. That's the first question. The second question is, while going for movies that, actually wants change, has anybody come for you?
Okay. I'll go with the first. Does documentary pay? So, I know of is that I used to make a lot of corporate videos. Good at, storytelling and all that. You can make a decent living to make videos for them, right? But what I was doing was that every money they give me, I use it and make my personal stories. So I was using my corporate work to fund my personal stories. I was doing that for a while until, again, there's always a pivotal moment. You keep tapping on the wall. It might take you 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and then one day it all comes crashing down, and it's open season. So, long and short of the matter is that with documentaries, you can get to a point where you'll be in a comfortable place. You'll be in a place where you can ask for what you want, to get involved in. I know that Uncle Femi mentioned it, but let me mention it to you that Mothers of Chibok is the first documentary to be in the cinemas in this country, to be distributed in the cinemas. You understand what I mean? So what that means is that somebody has sat down somewhere and said, okay, this documentary thing, it looks like, let's get involved somehow and see what's happening here. You know, that's interest. That's genuine interest. And that's information that you can take to a potential investor and say, hey, look, you know, our last documentary played in the cinemas, sold out, this, that. We want to make our next one. We need X amount of money to do it. So you can get to a pace where, you know, it's sort of like you can be okay. You're not going to if you're trying to make billions, you know, not ducks. But if you want to be okay, earn a decent living, and still be doing what you love to do, I think you can do that. It will take time. It may take time. It may be faster for you than the next person, but it is perfectly possible. Second one, I've not run into those situations yet. I hope not to. But even if we do, you know, we have a community of people that will rise up and defend us. But we should never be afraid to speak truth to power. And there are very interesting ways that you can take on tough subjects and present them to the world without even calling anybody's name. And you won't be the one doing the shouting. Because the film would have activated something in the hearts of people. And everyone is going to be like, this has got to stop. I'm still talking about that film that when we saw it at Ebony Live, the boy who, that's a film that I'm waiting to see made. I was saying, Uncle Femi, I'm personally interested in investing in a film like that because it's a film that ought to be made.
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. My name is, the other time I didn't introduce my name when we were here some days ago, so I have the opportunity to do so. My name is Afereka Ajimirakwarafu Amoswagwechefu. These are my names, but if you don't mind, just call me Afereka. I can't call this a question, but I think what?
Kachi?
Kachi, sorry, at times people by the name mine. You talk about the answers to develop it. I'll tell you, if you don't mind, maybe the same thing that happened to you in Kano might be the same thing that will happen to you about it. If you had rejected the Kano project, it would have not led you to the Chibok project. I did a song during the NSAS stuff, and I call it Take It By Yourself, thinking about how the killers can turn around to kill those people who told them to go and kill the innocent ones. And that song, I didn't publish it because of one reason. So please, if you don't mind, do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll give.
It's not a question, but you can.
I can respond to that in the sense that I think it's also important that I'm one of the things that I'm trying to focus a bit more on now is, and that's the reason why I feel like iREP is such. Sorry guys, can we? That's one of the reasons why I feel like iREP is such an incredible platform for documentary filmmakers, because what Uncle Femi is doing is that he is building a community of factual storytellers. And this is the only platform of its kind in the sub-region. The next place you can go to go and watch only documentaries on the continent that I know of is in South Africa, Encounters. Right? So iREP is the only one in West Africa. I want to see a world where, yes, let's put our hands together for Uncle Femi. I want to see a world where many more young filmmakers from Nigeria can go into documentary filmmaking. So I can't make all the documentaries. I'm at a place in my life where I feel like I can start to give back. I can work with young filmmakers that have great ideas and say, okay, what will it take? You understand? I mean, we have the skills, we have the network, we have the equipment, we have the friends, we have the contacts. Let's figure out how we can make this happen with you. We need to build a community, an army of storytellers. All right? Like I said, some people will see the glass half full, some will see it half empty. All stories are relevant. I can focus on stories of hope and resilience and courage that makes you feel good at the end of the day. Next guy can say, guy, I want to tell the government that they are screwing things up, and that's my story, and it's still a relevant story. We can't all do everything, but I think that our goal should be to build an army of storytellers who are passionate about factual storytelling, because narrative is having a great time. It's having a great time. Everybody wants to go do narrative. Everybody wants to go make a great film with the biggest actors in the country and all of that. And that's fantastic. It's good. But documentary filmmaking still needs to be built. And it can't be built by one person. Uncle Femi alone can't build it. Kachi alone can't build it. You understand what I mean? Like, so we need many more people to go out there and start to tell those stories that matter. So that ends our story. That guy will tell it. We will support him to do it.
Thank you very much, Kachi. He will be back after the break. Right, Baji? Yeah. But really, my
Dr. Silva will be here to engage you. She just walked in. Okay, I'll let her rest a bit. So you can just rest a bit. Oh, okay. So what we'll quickly do is, we've been talking about opportunities and co. We can't stop talking about them because as more people come in, we always want to hear about opportunity that documentary film offers. And we have some new people in the room. So our partner, Nigeria LNG, they just introduced a new prize, which is a surprise for so many people because they've been doing science and literature for a long while. Now this year, I think they became so encouraged to now have the Nigeria prize for connected from there. Benakute is from Nigeria. They will just talk about it now, just for about 3 minutes, so that Joe Benson can come back.
All right, thank you very much, and good afternoon once again. I was part of the last session. A question was asked of Kachi if documentary filmmaking will help you make billions. I'm just trying to paraphrase. And he was very smart about how he answered it. This is how we say it. Documentary filmmaking will make you a fortune. And that is one of the reasons why we've created the Nigerian Prize for Creative Arts. Like I said earlier, I mean, it's an industry that is started to worth over $3 trillion US. So I've told a lot of us about it, but I'm happy today that one of my bosses is around, and he's just going to come up and share a few words just to appreciate. Oh, okay. All right. He says no. And the reason is because I've also told him that you guys have clamored that the money should be increased to 50,000 US. So what you're going to help me do is thank him for releasing the funds. He's no other person but the manager, Nigeria Content, NLNG, Dagogo Buhari. Please help me appreciate him. Thank you very much, sir. So one of the feedback we've gotten is that, is it possible for us to have different categories? First, second, third. Can we also expand the budget? I'm just a mouth, and also increase the age bracket. Some people says the. All right, but just to add, at this point, beyond all of this, is to say that the call for entry is still open. We are outside. The flyers have been passed around. If you have any questions, please ask. 30th of April it closes. Non-fiction, the theme is identity, and of course, we hope that the winner will come from this room. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, this next session is very important for us because we always talk about opportunities. Now, Joel Benson's film, Madu, has done quite a lot of things. It won the Emmy Award, which is the biggest so far. Just that Nigeria under-celebrated that. And then it's the fourth documentary we know in recent time to go went to the cinema. And he had to do it, because we've been talking about collaboration. He had to do it in collaboration with somebody who has a personality to carry it. Because if Joel Benson walked to your office and say, I'm Joel, you say, who are you? With this your hairstyle. But then when you walk into a room with a Jockey Silver, the MD will first of all, that's something to celebrate for those of us who are filmmakers. Once Joel Benson steps in, I'll just ask Auntie Jockey to come on stage. Jockey, please. She knows how to harass my life, so let me harass her today. You are hereby commandeered.
What was the conversation? What had to be true about the film, the audience, the market, for them to take a bet on this film?
One email. It was really a leap of faith. It was like, you know, when I went to make the film, we didn't have the funding for it. But I said to my DP, let's make the first trip. Let's figure it out. You know, when we were looking for an EP, I remember saying to my producers that, and they went and did some research, and I said, okay, fine, no wahala. So I spoke to Uncle Femi. I said, look, I want Auntie Joker to be the EP for this film, and let's find a way to show her the film, and we did that. So with distribution as well, it was a case of, I wanted this film to play in cinemas for two reasons. Number one, it's a film that I think is important for us to see as a community. You know, it's community, inspire other young documentary filmmakers that it is possible for our films to be seen on the big screen. So Film One is the biggest distributor in Nigeria, probably in West Africa with them. They saw it and they came back to us after a couple of weeks and said, we've seen the film, we loved it. It was a leap of faith, really.
And Auntie Joker, would you say that your joining as executive producer may have, either played a part in that, or
time when we were preparing for the premiere? Yes, because we were at IMAX and we were kind of looking for alternatives. But I do know that there was a day, if I speak to them, they will not give us a discount. So let's not even try it. Just leave it there. Let's keep negotiating, But one of the things that I think has helped Film One or the distribution companies that we have at the moment, it's an uphill task from, just getting the cinema culture back on track. We had a huge, very lucrative Saturday. We went to Plaza, and then there was Roxy. There were just so many cinemas.
So they farm the groundnuts, they harvest them, they sell them raw to the middlemen in the village who pay them whatever they want to pay them, and that's it. They're happy to take it. And so I started to think about how can this film, play a part in changing the power dynamics, in the community in favor of the farmers, the women. And the first thing that we did was to say, how do we improve their yield? That's the first thing. How can we improve their yield? And I talked about how we worked with agronomists and soil technicians and soil scientists to figure out, why is the harvest so low? When we figured that out, we took the women, we trained them, 9 of them. We trained the 9 women, and then we provided them with the right seeds, fertilizer, and everything else that they needed. But more importantly, there was very close monitoring and evaluation. So we did a pre-planting evaluation, we did a mid-season evaluation, and then by the time it was ready for the harvest, the harvest was what we were projecting, right? It was 100% increase. And so the next thing was now, okay, so you have this harvest, it's a bountiful harvest. What do you do with it? Do you sell to the same middlemen who are going to undercut you? No. So we now started speaking to off-takers in Lagos, who would off-take. But at that point, I decided to just zoom out and think about Nigeria and Africa, and how more often than not, our raw materials, what we're blessed with, goes out in a raw form and comes back refined, and we pay twice as much to get it. And it was just happening at a micro level here in the community, because yes, it's great to have off-takers, but those off-takers are still going to process it and make more profit that really doesn't trickle back to the community. So we approached a couple of companies. Notsi was one of them. Notsi is the biggest producer of peanut butter. And I said, hey guys, would you be interested in taking groundnuts from Chibok and making peanut butter under the Mothers of Chibok brand? The brand belongs to them, but we give you the groundnuts to do it. And they said, yes, we're happy to do it. And so that was an agreement that we set up with them and a couple of other companies as well to do different derivatives. And what's happening now is that we now have a formal Mothers of Chibok peanut butter brand, Mothers of Chibok peanut chocolate, Mothers of Chibok this and that. And the idea is that we want to use these products to not just create sustainable income for the women and for the community. The aim is up to scale and do more. I mean, we did 9 women last year. We're hoping to women. But beyond that, can Mothers of Chibok become this national brand that is associated with resilience and courage and, and everything that is positive out of that place. So when you think about Chibok now, yes, some people might think about the kidnap and all that, but some people might think about peanut butter, and that's great. That's cool, and that's how I think you start to slowly change the narrative and continue to help the women fund education in the community.
Thank you. And well done. I mean, it's really incredible you don't really see, so I was thinking as you were talking about how, like, when we see films and we think about, derivatives of the film, typically it's like maybe merchandise, right? It's just like, oh, how do we also market this, film to see what we can make from it? But hardly do you see how it's about the people, the subjects of the film. And so, definitely have to, acknowledge, your thoughts and your vision for that. But Auntie Joke, it'd be great to hear from you a little bit more about, your thoughts around, or maybe more details and, around the social impact of this, initiative, particularly what we're trying to do in terms of, increasing the number of women this year and what that looks like, how people can support and stuff like that.
Okay. I think the social impact aspect and the enterprise aspect of Mothers of Chibok actually came from the philosophy of the making of the film right from the beginning, which was that Kachi had always decided that he wasn't going to make an extractive film. You know, he wasn't going to extract from the community. And because, you know, once you have, like one of the things he always says, once you have an agenda with what you're doing, it kind of guides how you then proceed. That philosophy guides how you proceed with the filmmaking and what follows after it. And it's almost as if the Lord then, because of how you have positioned your mind, the Lord then orders your steps in the ways you should go. Like Kachi has said, it's to go from 9 to 100. Each woman is from all the processes that he discussed, the seeds, the planting, the irrigation, the nurturing and harvesting, from end to end is 1.5 million per week for 50 women. But we need to raise another 50 so that we meet our target of 100 women for this year. And why we're saying that is that planting season starts at the can say that looks at 1.5 and says, oh, come on, 1.5 is that all, let me do 3. Talk to that person. And if several of you want to come together and say, come on, let's be part of this. Let's be part of this. And maybe 10 of you decide to put so much together, you know, just for one woman. It's fine. Or you may know somebody who will say that, oh, we have, I know somebody who does fertilizer. I mean, fertilizer is at risk right now because of what some heavy duties are doing globally with their absolute brainlessness. Excuse my language. It could get even worse than that. However, so ammonia is going to be a real issue for farmers, for fertilizer. So if you know of anyone who can help us with fertilizer, we will take it. So in other words, it can be cash or kind. And the kind of products we make, and when you say peanut butter, excuse me, there's a particular thing that they made. It's not the peanut, it's not the one with the white cover. There's another one. It's not pop nuts. It's also in a jar. We made it. It is made. You know, the groundnuts are then blended with pepper, sweet as. No. That's the snack. No, I'm talking about the paste. Sorry, Osoji. I had some yesterday. We made it into groundnut stew with chicken. Father of life. Oh, it was fantastic. It's mixed with vegetables, with our own spices, with our own. It was fantastic. So there's a whole range of things that we can do, and when we tell stories that then help the community from which the story has been told. All right, it's giving the women. First of all, you know, there's something that I hate about terrorism, is the fact that terrorism feeds off the fact that you keep mentioning the name of the terrorists. All right, that is their main goal. They like to be acknowledged for the atrocities that they commit. And one of the things that Mothers of Chibok does, it takes away that power. It focuses on the dignified resistance and defiance of these women that say education is a must. All right? And when you make a film like that, you give dignity. So that is also part of the social impact. The dignity to the women and also the faith of the women. We have 3 Sorry to be going off tangent.
No,
you
you're
have
not. It's actually-
you have three, what do you call them now? Three theocracies, all of them fighting in the name of God. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity right now turning the whole world into a mess. You look at these women, their simple faith, Islam and Christianity living side by side as sisters and brothers. What is better? What is a better flag of defiance in the face of the world that insists on othering? These simple women, simple rural women, who tend to be, for me, a symbol of rural women worldwide, globally, who get up every day, get the job done, no matter what. That's the impact of a Mothers of Chibok. Thank you.
No, actually, thank you so much. You know, it's interesting because you literally answered the last question that was for you. So I'll ask it anyway in case there's anything else you want to add to it. What does it mean for you to be attached to a project whose impact extends into the lives and livelihoods of these women? And what do you think this model signals for the future of storytelling and filmmaking in Nigeria? You know, where a film doesn't just tell a story, but build something, you know, lasting, you know, impactful and sustainable.
I think I'll just kind of say that, you know, over the years, our storytelling has always been about, or the stories that I like to be involved with are stories that try to get us to have conversations with each other, to have conversations, to have paradigm shifts. For me, very importantly, is Mothers of Chibok asks us to be less capitalistic, to be less avaricious. When a woman is so proud to pay school fees of 7,000 naira, 7,500 naira, it's taken her a whole planting season to raise that money. And then we in the city, you know, even beggars in the city is terrible. If you give a beggar in the city and you give them, that's all you have, or what, they look at you and say, plus including the car that you are driving. And you're like, what did you put in my pockets? Do you understand? We as a people need to have a paradigm shift. We as a people need to look out for each other, because I think that's also what Mothers of Chibok does. To be our brother's keeper, to be our sister's keeper. And I believe that as a nation, the more we do that, the more we love our nation, and the nation is made of the people. The more we love ourselves properly, the better our country will be. It doesn't depend on only the government. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. And to just round this off, Kachi, I know we've talked about this throughout, but just to kind of put a nice bow on all we've chatted about, you know, Auntie Jake mentioned the planting season starts at the end of April. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, what this means essentially for the women. So basically, I don't know, tell us a little bit about how people can, you know, support this, you know, Groundnuts initiative right now. You know, we know there's 2 pathways, so maybe just, you know, kind of show us a little bit, tell us a little bit about what that means before we leave today. I know she talked about it, but
I mean, all I can say is that I haven't done the math yet, but I know that the 9 women that we worked with last year produced a total of about 3 tons of groundnuts, And just to give you a sense of the numbers, so with 300 kilograms of groundnuts gives you roughly about 600 jars of peanut butter. And so when you compute that, we're trying to do 100 women this year. So you can imagine how many tons of groundnut that could be, and potentially how many jars of peanut butter that is. And when you do the math, that's some serious change that you can bring to a community when a percentage of that goes back into the community, whether it's to train teachers or to build schools or to do whatever. So that's the big dream, right? Like, how can we continue to scale this and use it to make a difference in the community? If anyone is interested in figuring out how to be a part of this, you can go to mothersofchibok.com, and there's a simple link there on how you can donate and support. And support comes in various forms, like what Auntie Joke has said. It could be in cash, it could be in kind, it could be in technical support, it could be in advisory, whatever. This is something that we're committed to doing, and for us, it's really, want to be able to look back someday and say, the brand, the Mothers of Chibok brand, is now this sort of like international brand that can be associated with growth and resilience and just rising up from the ashes. Like I like to say, you travel around and sometimes you see these products in airports in different parts of the world, and it's like fair trade, and maybe this is coffee from Ghana, or it's shea butter from Kenya and all that, and people buy it because of the story that is associated with it. It's not like you can't get peanut butter anywhere else, but imagine that you're buying peanut butter and you know that, okay, it's a good quality product, it's great, it tastes good, but I'm also doing good while I'm buying this. Like, it's a win-win for everyone, and that's really what we're hoping that we can make this into. So, I'll encourage you to go out there and support, spread the word. The film is still in cinemas, and so take a friend or a few friends, go watch it. But more importantly, for the crowd that is in here, which is a crowd that is a storytelling crowd, filmmakers, as you go out there to look for stories that you want to tell, ask yourself, how can this story be a catalyst for change? And be intentional about it. I think that's really important, because this is just one film about one situation, and there's loads of stories out there that need to be told. There's loads of impacts out there that need to be made, and so and we are the ones that will do it. So thanks for your time, and looking forward to seeing your films.
Thank you so much for your time, Kachi and Auntie Joke. Does anybody have any questions? I think we have enough time for how many?
Yeah, sure. You can take a few questions.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
I'm actually a social impact person, so Auntie Joke can do justice to that. So, in terms of the peanuts, something, I can help with digital marketing. If I can have the content, I can help with digital marketing. That will be my in-kind support.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll get your details afterwards.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I would just like to propose if we can have a talk after, maybe we'll approach a Rotary. Rotary is spread all over the world. We could get some of our big Rotary clubs to partner with you in terms of funding, and also help to spread the news. Another organization you can also talk to in terms of either funding or fertilizer is the Dangote Foundation. That's the fertilizer man currently in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Ajai. I wanted to ask if the peanut butters are available in this part of Nigeria, and then how has the acceptance been? For retail stores, you go to them, okay, I want you to put this on the shelf. How has it been for you? Have you had some rejections because of that kind of peanut butter or product? Thank you.
Right. So right now, all the products, we have an agreement with a store called Gather House. So Gather House is in Ikoyi, and they only stock like women-owned or women-led brands. So we just have a 1-month arrangement with them for them.
They sold out the first set now.
Yeah, I think they sold out the first set, and they requested for a new order. So which is great. People love it. And everyone loves a good story. So that's something to bear in mind. With the selling, quote unquote, for this particular year, it's also pilot phase, it's testing, it's seeing what works, what doesn't work. And as we go into, on the farming side, working with 100 women, we will also start to put things in place for when the harvest is ready so that we can go out, full scale. The good thing is that the partners that we're hoping to work with, on the processing side are very excited about the product. They're very excited about the possibilities that it has. Everywhere that we've spoken about this, everyone has been like, wow, what a great idea. And sorry, I keep going back to this thing about filmmakers and the stories that you tell. People are waiting for your story and for your impact move. You just have to do it, And so, yes, we're hopeful that by the time we're ready to go, full blast, we will get the support that we need to take it out. Yeah. Does anybody have any? Sorry.
Hi. So hi, I'm going to start off by admitting I'm not a creative. I'm more on the commercial end of the social impact space. Okay. But firstly, thank you for the film. It was really, really beautiful. And for someone who has worked at the nexus of agriculture and conflict, I think I didn't fully realize what it takes to be a smallholder farmer until just watching the journey of your film. From seeing them planting, that manual process, which looks arduous, but they did it with so much joy. The fact that the children, the community were involved, and then even just watching the end when you're dealing with the middlemen and that negotiation process. Yeah. It was incredible. My question was actually, another takeaway from the film was that the music was beautiful.
The music?
The music was stunning.
Right.
And I'm wondering, were there any kind of narratives or stories that you were telling through the music that you weren't telling through the spoken word?
So I love music. I think we all do. Something that stood out for me while we were working with the women, we go with them to the farm. So they would always be singing this song while they're, digging and all that. They would be singing this song, and the song had such a melodious tune. So one day I walked up to one of the mothers, Yana, and I said, "What does this song mean?" And she said, "The song means I come to you with a heart of gratitude. Like everything I have, all I have is just a heart of gratitude." And I found that so incredible because some of us, NEPA took light for 2 days and you become the world's greatest cynic. Yeah. And you don't see anything good in the world. And here's a woman who doesn't know if her daughter is going to come back. And she's saying, "I come to you with a heart of gratitude." And in that moment, I knew that would be the soundtrack for the film. Yes, so I had her recorded on my phone, and I came back and I sent it to my friend Kobams Asuko. And I said, "Kobams, this is the music for my film. I want you to listen to it. When I'm ready, we'll talk." So when the film was done, I told my editors to just put temp score over it, and then I sat down with Kobams. And that itself is another story because Kobams is blind. And when you're scoring for a film, you have to see to score. So that was a whole other process that we had to go through. But it was also beautiful because, I mean, when you have a vision for something, you're not going to let anything stop you. So the music for the film was made by Cobhams, who's probably the best on the continent, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Well done, Mr. Kachi and Mrs. Joke Silva. Thank you very much. For us to be able to give, we have to become. And I'm an actor, by the way, so that's where my question comes from. As an actor, how do you become your character in such a way that you impact people, like you tell your stories through your body, with your eyes, with your movement? How do you do that so that we're not only gaining money from our jobs, but we're also telling valuable and becoming valuable people? So how do you do that?
I know. I'm just wondering what angle to take the action, what angle to take the answer from. First of all, very, very, very important question. And I like how you say that we tell the story with our bodies. Now, the very first answer to your question is that you need to have a body that is obedient to you. How do you have a body that is obedient to you? Your body, you need to know that body. You need to understand what does your body look like when you are in pain, or what does a body, not necessarily just your body, what does a body look like when it is in pain? What does a body look like when it's happy? What does a body look like when it's emotional? All right? And how do you do that? There's a need to understand your own body, but there's a need to become an observer. As a performer, you have to be an incredible observer of people. Always observing, always watching, always anywhere, people from any walk of life, just watch, okay? Because one day useful. Even the way people speak, the kind of intonation that they have, you'll just find that there's a time in our career when we cannot be, what's the word now? We cannot decide on the material that we work with. We are not in control of the material we work with. All we can do is, you have a job, you need to put food on the table, whatever the part is, you'll do it, as long as it's not asking you to do things that are against your values. You will do it, whether you agree with the story or not, yeah? But there comes a time when you have the power and you can enforce the agency that you're paying me, because you can see, you understand the impact that it will have on your society. But when, as a beginner, it's not likely that you'll have that power. All you can do is do the work and get really good at your work. Yes? So that's it in a nutshell, but it's like something that you actually train for. Yeah? Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Smith from Pan Atlantic University. I'm a film student. So my question was, has your understanding of faith or purpose changed through the stories you've documented? Because I'm a Christian, I believe in God, and I feel ever since watching Mothers of Chibok last year, it has had like a huge impact on my life, even from the music, like you said, it's like a praise song of faith. So I wanted to ask that, has your understanding of faith and purpose changed through the stories you've documented?
Yes, it has. I mean, like what Auntie Joke said, you come to a place where you just realize that it's just really, really good to be a good person, you know, and sometimes we get bogged down with definitions and sects and tribe and, you know, what religion are you and all of that, but like, good people are good people, bad people are bad people, and you can find them everywhere in the church and in the mosque. And I think that these women of this community, especially the women, the mothers, they live on this sort of like really simple, basic level of humanity. There are no airs. Some of the things that we tag on is just extra stress that we give ourselves. And I think it's just like, and it's hard for us that live in the city, like Auntie Joke said, to do away with some of these things that I feel are just extras that you don't need. But if one can find a way to live simply with gratitude, I think that's like a full life. You know, simply and with gratitude. Understand that what you have is enough, and if you don't have it, it's fine. You know, stay hopeful. You know, I think that living simply isn't living a complacent life. They're two separate things, simple life. If there's anything I learned from these women, it's just that, because I'm in Chibok for 2 weeks, man, there's no light. There's no light for that 2 weeks. There's no light to come on in the nights for like 4 hours so we can charge our batteries. You understand? And you can't, sometimes there's no network for like 2 days. They'll shut it down, maybe because there's an operation somewhere and they don't want, and that's it. Yeah, for that 2 days, you're just like, you know, but yet, kids are playing, the women are going to the farm, people are singing, and you just think, but when you come back to town, the first honk of traffic in Lagos starts to irritate you. You know, because you're coming from a place that is just so peaceful. It's you and the hills and God. So, yeah, living a simple life is one thing I learned from them. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Rebecca, and the question I have to ask basically is that when it comes to creating a documentary, actually in a position where these, like the set of people you are creating a documentary about are kind of restricted on what they are supposed to say, how they are supposed to say it, it's like they are guided strictly on what they are supposed to say because of like other reasons. So how do you still get authenticity? How do you get like the truth from them without like it having to sound fake or rehearsed?
Right. That's where. So your superpower as a documentary filmmaker is listening and patience. Right? You just have to be patient and understand that it takes time to build that trust for them to open up and share things with you. You know, you make documentaries under different circumstances in different places. In some places, like you said, there might be restrictions. For instance, you know, let's say, I don't know, you want to make a documentary on, say, a secret society, right? Like a cult or something, or like a masquerade, whatever. And they say, okay, fine, you have access, but there are certain things that we can't tell you. But maybe you need those things, or you need something for your story. Well, you gotta be willing to invest the time, right? And sometimes the things that they don't want to share with you might not necessarily be, sometimes it's just rules that are just there just because they are there. But when they start to see you as a member of that community, as a part of them, because you've proven to them that, look, I'm willing to spend the time and truly understand you so I can share your story, some of those walls could come down. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, those are the boundaries, and you stay within those boundaries and walk within those boundaries and make the best of it. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Obrike Dominic, and I wanted to ask.
I can't hear you.
Okay, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Obrike Dominic. I'm a student in Pan-Atlantic University. I wanted to ask how you can still tell these sad stories and inspire people. Like, how are you able to like combat the truth, even though like there are some factors that will stop you from telling these truths. That's my question.
So let me understand your question again.
Okay, so I asked like, how are you able to tell these sad stories that are able to inspire people to do good, to help the community as well?
But I don't see them as sad stories. That's the whole point. I don't see them as sad stories. You know, I see them as stories of resilience and courage. I think that you, as a filmmaker, have a primary responsibility. First of all, how do you see the story? Because you're only showing the world what you see. It's your perspective. You understand what I mean? It's you. You're telling the world this is this place. So if you see it as a sad story and you want to present the sadness and the pain to the world, that's what they will see, right? But if you see it as an empowering story, that's what the world will see. One of the scenes that we had a bit of a debate in the edit room, and it was a really long debate because my editors are like super accomplished editors. Like, you know, they've done films for days. And so the scene where the women broke down, that night scene, when the girls were found and then they were talking about it and then the women broke down, I didn't want that scene in the film. Because in my head, it didn't fit the narrative that I was trying to present to the world. But I also did something very wise, I think, in that before editing the film, I told my producers, this film will be edited by women and they have to be mothers. So we went looking for women that can edit and are mothers, and we found 2. Because I also wanted to get their perspective. Your editor is really your storyteller. That's the person that takes all that mess that you've done and creates order in that chaos. And I remember Charlotte saying to me, it's okay for a woman to cry. So calm down. And exactly. And so after all those conversations, I realized that, okay, they had a very strong point and we left it in there. It wasn't there to evoke sadness in a sense, but it was there to show that they're human. You understand what I mean? We've seen them for the last 70 plus minutes, strong, going to the farm, tilling the ground, making the harvest, all that, they're, you know, super women. But it's okay to cry. It's okay to be human. And that was a very strong point. So it really depends on what you see. You can only give the world what you see. Yeah.
All right, so thank you. I just want to look beyond the movie because it shouldn't be like a 5 years project. It's something that should continue for a very long time. So what is the plan for replication? Are you getting some of the women to also mentor other women? Are you trying to do like business aspect of it, where they also learn the nitty-gritty of business? Now that some people are exempted, some are not going to be exempted, their bookkeeping, entrepreneurship, and all of that. It's important for their growth. It's important for them to move from the level they are now to have also better understanding. If they cannot read, maybe you're getting some people to guide them in some other area. Then, knowing the governor of Borno State, Professor Solon, have you tried to reach out to the government for their buy-in? Because they can do far more than the 100 you plan to replicate in the next project. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Right. So first question, are we trying to, yeah, I mean, the beauty of what we're doing is that it's growing and it's evolving. It started with a guy saying he wants to make a film. Then it then became, oh, let's try and do some impact work and see what's happening. Now it's, oh, let's process what they're doing and make it into a finished product. So it will keep growing. right? We have a strong team of people who really believe in this, and they're like sort of like experts in different things. So all of that is going to happen to ensure that the women, that it's truly empowering in every sense of the word, right? Remember that everything that we're doing boils back to what is really important for these women: education. And so whether it's ensuring that the teachers there receive better training, that the schools there are better equipped, roped into something that is definitely bigger than us, so we just enjoy the ride. And so not one sees it and they like what write grants. I don't know how to write proposals. That skill. I have to find people around me that can say, look, let's figure out how to solve this problem and keep it moving. You want to see that change, like in your life, change to people who probably, imagine if we're
production phase and I have a lot of talking heads. How do you approach this story in such a way that you're not over with?
Who's your editor?
Make sure the story is properly formed before moving to.
And maybe like an era of creative, and you present your documentary lived with talking heads. You don't feel like you're just talking. Do you watch docs a lot? Hymns. Right. Right. Yes, day before yesterday, did you hear? So I said, go watch Honeyland. Watch Honeyland, watch, and maybe I haven't seen that one. So when you think of like a film, Ava DuVernay's 13th, which talk, yeah. But like even like the one that Ava DuVernay did on the 13th Amendment was a beautiful doc, right? It's talking heads, but like it's interviews, but like, so let's have a chat afterwards. And I mean, I think I would just like to mention here for all the documentary filmmakers in the house between the ages of 18 and 35. There's like a documentary prize now, right? The NLNG forces you to think, how to express that. But I mean, it's the largest documentary prize on the continent. So you can't do it, sir. You have a white beard. I know you're above 35. Okay, just kidding. But yeah, it's for like the younger ones, 18 to 35.
Hi, my name is Chisom Adeoye, and I'm a student of Pan Atlantic University. My question is it's not really a question, but it's a thought I've had. So we have impactful stories like this that most Nigerians don't know about. And also like the story of like the peanut butter thing helping to the Chibok girls, and then bringing this story that helps to bring the narrative to the world. But the majority of Nigerians do not watch these things. We don't have a large audience of Nigerians watching films that actually help Nigerians. Most Nigerians focus their time watching movies that are like comedic, that don't actually help to develop the minds of us Nigerians. And we need more people knowing that we need to understand our worth. We have a lot of Nigerians not even knowing their worth. We demonize a lot of things that are related to our culture. So I'm thinking, like, is there a marketing structure that could help to change the view of it? Because I see there can be movies like that that can still incorporate things about culture so that people can learn things when they're like leaving from watching a movie. So usually see, this is what they love to view. So mixing in impactful stories with what viewers already like, I think that.
No. I found your question very interesting. You had a question, you had an idea of how to deal with it. But I think there are several strategies. Does that a lot in her work. If you over the year into that series, and if you watch some of her, or if you've watched some, I mean, I haven't watched her latest films, but some of the ones I've seen, I see that she's actually a very good way to pass subliminal messages, because people are laughing, they don't realize how the message is getting into their subconscious. It happens. Now, there was something very interesting that you mentioned about marketing. all right? And I think marketing is strategic, all right? Now, with Mothers of Chibok, for instance, it was a team effort in which we kind of were like, okay, this premiere, there needs to be a premiere for it. How are we going to have the premiere? And we went back and forth as to where the premiere was going to be. If the premiere was going to be at Alliance Francaise, these are the number of people we needed. If the premiere was going to be at IMAX, these were the number of people we needed to, all right? So, when we finally decided on IMAX, how do you fill a room, the biggest cinema hall in Nigeria, they say, I mean, that's what we hear, we don't know. Fill it with a room, fill that room with 350 people to watch a documentary. They're not coming to watch a comedy. They're not coming. Now, one of the things that you need to know are who are your target audience. All right? Who are the kind of people who are going to watch this film? And then you work a strategy to get those people to the cinema. And we collaborated with the whole, there was a team behind that premiere, a solid team behind that premiere. And everybody showed up. Everybody, did what they needed to do. So that we filled not only one cinema, we filled 2 screens. And we still had an overflow. I believe that sometimes that's where our distributors get it wrong. They don't want to do the work that goes with understanding a film and targeting the target audience for that particular film, So once you know who your target audience is, then go for that. There is always an audience for a story. There's an audience for a story. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we're done. Thank you so much for your time, for engaging, and thank you even more to our speakers, Kachi and Auntie Joke. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Just a big round of applause for them. It's not easy to have been there for almost 4 hours. So picture time. Now we curated today so that we can see more films. Am I fathers of Chibok? The question I've been meaning to ask, he did mothers of Chibok, daughters of Chibok. When is fathers of Chibok? He's been refusing to answer that question, but we have to force him to do it someday. So we're going to see more films this afternoon. That's why we want to end the plenary early. So the 2 screening rooms are on. Thank you very much. Double minority is at 3:30. I think we are overrunning on that. The director, producer of Formation is around, Jumoke Sanwo. She was there. I think maybe she's in the hall now. Just feel free to see any film that you want to see in the 2 rooms. Thank you very much for being wonderful audiences. Let's go relax and see film. And buy your popcorn and Coke. But the plenary will reconsider tomorrow, Saturday. We have more plenaries there.